Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sloth Law. So today I thought what I'd talk about would be the 5 things that you need to consider when you're trying to decide if you want to go to law school. So before we get started, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and if you like what you see in this video, hit the like button for me. At the end of the day, you keep hearing it from everybody, I know, but it really does help with the algorithm, shoves the video out for other people to see. So when I entered law school, we were still recovering from the Great Recession, right? 2008, 2009, 2010, right? Unemployment was going up, tuition rates were rising quickly, and people were choosing to go and hide in education instead of looking for work because there wasn't any, and so they were waiting for the job market to improve. Thankfully, things have gotten a lot better in the following years, especially in the last 2 or 3. But if you're looking into going into law school, make sure you're giving it some real deep thought before you commit. In considering whether law school is going to be right for you, here are 5 of the things that you should consider when making that decision. Number 1, your personality. This is a big one, okay? What kind of personality do you have? Right? There are a bunch of stereotypes about lawyers. They're argumentative, kind of annoying, picky. They'll sit and get into arguments with you about the meaning of the word and. The thing is that the stereotype is kind of true. Attorneys tend to be type A personalities, detail-oriented, argumentative. It's part of the profession. So you need to ask yourself, 1, are you one of these people? Or at the very least, 2, can you work with those kind of people and thrive? Part of that is also, how do you deal with stress? Law school and the practice of law is exceedingly stressful, right? It is long nights sometimes, a lot of studying, short deadlines, tired, annoyed, angry, scared clients, pissy bosses, everything. So, how well do you handle stress? How do you go about managing that stress? And then another big one that people seem to forget about is, are you able to put your personal feelings about something aside and make the argument for that thing or that person? Almost guaranteed that at one point in your career, you are going to be asked to represent someone or make an argument on behalf of something that you disagree with, dislike, or think they actually did wrong. Particularly if you're thinking about criminal defense or defendant side civil litigation, you may very well end up defending or working for someone that you think did something bad. Can you put your personal feelings aside and get the job done? It may seem like a sort of self-evident question and you're throwing it aside going, oh, of course I can. But until you actually sit down and think about the ramifications of what it means for you and your personality, your sense of right and wrong, too many people find themselves surprised at the end of the day at how difficult they find it. So don't let that be you. Number 2, your academic history. Number 2, your academic history. How well did you do in school? Was school something that you excelled in, or you really just floundered and it took effort and struggle to get through? Don't forget, law school is more school. It's a vocational school, but it is reading all day long, at least in your first year. Hundreds and hundreds of pages of case law. Logical deduction, reasoning, discussion, debate, writing. Are those things that you did well in school, or is this going to be something that could end up posing a problem for you? Did you enjoy doing the research projects? Did you like drafting the papers? Because that's law quite often. It is research a subject, write a brief, write a memo, put a pleading together. So those are skills and exercises that if you didn't like doing it in school, you're not going to enjoy it much now. At least I would imagine not. And the very obvious part of this, what kind of grades did you have? Do you have the kind of grades that you would need to get into a school with a good post-grad employment rate? Because, like I just said, while it is school, it's a vocational school. You go to law school to learn how to think like a lawyer so that you can take the bar and then go out and practice law. You want to go to a law school that has good post-graduation employment rates. If you're going to take out that kind of money, put in that kind of time, get that much gray hair, it might as well be worth it on the back end. With that comes number 3. What do you want to do with the law degree when you're done? Patently, what is it that you want to do? Do you actually want to practice law, or do you have something else in mind? Maybe you want to open a business and you think having a law degree will help you with that. Maybe you want to teach in the law school. It's up to you. Figure out what it is in your life you want to do. But if at the end of the day you don't want to be a practicing lawyer, you should probably be asking yourself why you're looking at law school to begin with, and figuring out if you really need to go through that amount of trouble, that amount of time, and that amount of money to do something that you don't need the degree to do. Number 4 is the job market itself. Where is it that you want to practice? And do you know where that is? So things to consider if you're looking at going to a big city, New York, Seattle, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Chicago, you are probably going to have a better chance of having opportunities, right? Open positions to go into. You're also going to have more competition, but that's sort of the nature of things. At least you'll have more opportunity. If you're looking at a smaller town, that changes the calculus a little bit. Now, small is relative. The question is going to be then, do they have opportunities in the kind of law that you want to practice already in place? Or does it have a population sufficient to justify practicing the kind of law you want to practice? Or will you have the capacity and the capability to work remotely from that small town to do what it is that you want to do? Whatever floats your boat, but look at where you want to be, look at the job market where that is, and take that into consideration when you're looking at going into law school. Because number 5 is cost. Law is expensive, and not just when you get caught with a dime bag and you have to pay $300 an hour to get out of jail. Going to law school is expensive, and it gets more expensive every year. You are talking anywhere from $30,000 to $100,000 a year for tuition, books, room, board, food, bar prep. It's money, and so you have to kind of ask yourself, do you have the money to pay for it? If not, how are you going to pay for it? Are you going to take out loans? What kind of loans? Are you going to look at scholarships, grants, other forms of financial aid, things that you don't need to pay back? And if you're doing that, do they have requirements? Some have prior military service requirements or alumni requirements. Take a look and see what is available to you based off of who and what you are and what you've done, and figure out if you can afford law school. And then the big question that people fail to ask themselves is, how are you going to repay this hot mess of money? If you leave law school with $200,000 worth of debt and you want to go into public interest law and go work for a nonprofit somewhere making $35,000 a year, how are you going to repay those loans? And how are you going to live in the interim? So those are the 5 things that I would recommend you generally think about when you are considering law school. Your personality, your academic history, what you want to do with that law degree, the job market where you want to work, and the overarching cost. Think about those 5 things, and it'll give you a pretty good idea of whether or not law school is right for you. And it will also help you to start navigating which schools might actually be best for you. So I hope it was helpful, and let me know down below if you've already started the process. Where were you looking? Why did you choose the schools that you chose? Why did you choose to go to law school? I'd love to hear what you think. But until next time, have a good one, everybody.